Okay, so CM Punk has finally revealed why he left the WWE. Ironically, it's for pretty much every single reason that was rumored. He was exhausted and beat physically, mentally, emotionally, creatively, psychologically. He was just done. You know, he had a lot of nagging injuries. He wanted some time off. You know, they were kind of hitting that period where they had that like groundswell towards WrestleMania. They were going to do another foreign tour. You know, he was just beat. He was just done. He wasn't excited about, you know, another part-timer showing up, hogging the main spotlight. He thought it would be Daniel Bryan's time. He tangentially is kind of taking credit for the Daniel Bryan storyline. Kind of. It's like he thought that's what should have happened, and it did. And technically he didn't quit. He left, was suspended, but then got the letter of termination on his wedding day for breach of contract. That, of course, is what then led to the massive, you know, lawyering up on both sides and all that sort of fun stuff, which pretty much poisoned the well for him coming back anytime soon. Again, with the E, there's a never say never. You know, you had people who didn't show up for well over a decade, who then kind of went, you know, it's time to bury the hatchet on this. CM Punk also mentioned that after the pipe bomb, he was approached by sponsors. And he's like, I get like sponsors on my gear. Yeah, I think it'd be pretty cool. He was told no because it would piss people off. And then Lesnar shows up and gets the same deal. Lesnar shows up, gets put sponsors on his gear, has this whole different look to him, like he's more of a hired gun. But Punk wanted that originally. Okay. He was still kind of pissed about how the Summer of Punk kind of got screwed by them throwing him into a shoehorned main event feud with Kevin Nash, which then led to a pretty poor match he had with Triple H. All this was because they wanted to try to get Del Rio over. When they had him essentially cash in on Punk after Punk had a really solid match against John Cena when it was like champion versus champion because they both had the belt at the time. So yeah, all the rumors that he was just beat, he was done, he was kind of pissed about the direction of WrestleMania, wasn't a fan of some of the part-time guys showing up and taking the big spots, stifling the little guys. Yeah, pretty much all that was true. The only two things that came out of it were, one was the actual termination notice. You know, everyone thought he kind of just quit and they kind of just let his contract finish out. No, technically he was fired. And then that notice coming on his wedding day. Yeah, that pretty much everything was as those people had speculated. You know, he was beat, he was done, he had ideas no one was listening to, and then he walked. Ironically, he did mention that Vince hugged him and was crying. Vince was like, you know, your family. So it did seem like even though some people in the front office wanted him fired all the time, Vince did take a liking to him. Triple H expressed in older interviews that he did like Punk, thought he was a pretty good worker. Did it take him time to come around to him? Of course. You know, what I think, if Triple H were to be where he's at now, around the time that Punk was brought up, yeah, you know, Triple H tends to take a pretty good shine out to lots of the indie guys who are young. I think Punk just came in at just the wrong time. He was a guy who came with a lot of buzz. People didn't understand the buzz. They saw him and they were like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Why is it such a big deal? I don't get it. Work rate. That's good. Doesn't quite work in the E style, but it's good. And then a lot of time of him just kind of meandering. Until they finally realized, hey, this guy actually could probably do some stuff. Hey, it's actually pretty good. If you think about it, if you look back, your main event scene for quite some time has been dominated by Orton and Cena. Yeah, you can rotate in like, oh, here comes Big Show. Here comes Mark Henry. And they really didn't have anybody else to really throw into that mix now. So I was like, we got Christian. Nah, he's injured. Edge? Nah, he's gone. Del Rio? No one really cares. Well, Punk. Wait a minute. We've got Punk, Cena, and Edge. Yeah. And Punk, Cena, and Orton. Yeah. Huh. Well, Daniel Bryan. Holy cow, we got like 4 guys who you can kind of rotate in the main event spot. I should say champion, because main event spot is still just going to be John Cena. And now, with CM Punk and Daniel Bryan out, I was like, oh, you got Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt. Are all people who are just cuspy, not main event. Ziggler, same place, just like, so at the end of the day, one person will decide when CM Punk, or if and when he comes back. And that person is Phil Brooks.